Hey, welcome back. This video is going to be on the different types of fencing. I just found myself in a great spot where lots of different examples and I could show you pretty easily. The first type is American wire or woven wire. This is it right here. You can get 36 inches, 48 inches. This was put up for the purpose of cattle. It's got barbed wire on top, barbed wire on bottom. When I put it up for sheep, I don't put the barbed wire up. There's your brace post and your brace. I like it. It roughly costs around, well, since the whole embargo and all, but we used to figure $2 a foot to put it up. Excuse me, $1 a foot is what it costs to put it up. Next, we've got cattle panels. And what I like about cattle panels, it's a 16-foot panel. You put one fence post every 8 feet. If you have to stop for any particular reason, you just stop. You know, they go up one at a time. Whereas with woven wire, you've got to unroll 330 feet to a roll. You've got it stretched out. They really don't have a stopping point till you get your next set of brace posts, which is usually 150 foot. And so that's the downside to it. Whereas, you know, you got an emergency, you're putting up panels, no big deal. And panels are great because you'll find a million uses for cattle panels. This one's upside down. The only bad part about cattle panels is lambs will fit through the bottom holes of cattle panel. Like, see, these cattle panels are from Tractor Supply. And the holes, new lambs can just jump right through there. If nothing else, they'll get through this one because the three bottom ones are close together and then they get wider. These are hog panels. This is an old tube gate I had that was falling apart, so I just wired this hog panel on it. Hog panels work great unless you got some crazy flighty sheep and they will jump them. But the only time I've had them do that is I've got two down there on a corral, my sheep corral, and I've got two hog panels down there, and some sheep didn't want to go the way I wanted them to go, so rather than do what I asked them to do, they jumped over it. Cattle panels, we use cattle panel on one side of the farm for perimeter fencing. Works great, even though lambs can get through the bottom. Unless something is in there chasing them, they're not going to go out those holes. They're not going to leave their mama for that long anyway, and the dogs pretty much take care of that problem. I like the cattle panels because they hug the ground, so if your terrain changes, well, so is your cattle panel. If you've got a dip or a wash, you just cut a piece of cattle panel out and stick it in the hole, and voila. Whereas with your American wire, you don't have that luxury, but you can still cut a piece of cattle panel out and fill in your hole or whatever, and putting on your little clips there. If you're real close to the ground, it's hard to put your bottom clip on correctly if you're trying to hug the ground with cattle panels. Here's some old school co-op cattle panels. They're probably older than I am, and they've got big holes in the bottoms as well. I've crossed fence. Our perimeter fences are woven wire and cattle panels. Hello, ladies, ma'am. I cross fenced this, and money was an issue when I did it, so I used smooth wire or high tensile fencing, whatever you want to call it, and it's electric. It's not on right now. I hate it. It's junk. I didn't spend the money on the fiberglass poles because I had so many T-posts, and I used plastic insulators. Well, you see, after 1 year, they break. If you're trying to change directions, like you go up and down in elevation, then if you're not doing it with a wooden post in that spot, and you try to do it with T-posts, then they'll snap your pieces out. But if you didn't have a lot of it and you wanted to do it, it's not that bad if you did it and did it right, I guess. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. I'm used to cows and hogs, and they will tear up something. So you do it and you build the crap out of it so they can't. But here is The first one's 6 inches off the ground. The second one's 6 inches. And then this was supposed to be 6, 6, 6, 8, and 10. 5 strands. Bottom one's 6 inches, next one's 6, next one's 6, 8, and 10 inches. Honestly, when I kept the juice going to it, and if you could keep it from getting grounded out, it actually held the sheep in. The mamas would stay in, so about every once in a while you'll have a baby that would find his way out. But he'd just pop right through as soon as you went to pick him up and take him to his mama. So it's not that, it wasn't that horrible. It's not that bad, I just don't like it, just a personal preference. I've got a bunch of fencing I'm gonna be taking down this summer and replacing and redoing a lot of my cross fencing. So I'll show you how to take down cross fencing or take down fencing, and we're gonna redo this cross fencing so I can show you how we put up fence. We stretch the snot out of it, make sure it's super tight. If something hits it, it's gonna fly back like a giant rubber band. There's some nanny goats that eat our brush. There's not as much brush in this pasture, so they're a little miffed at me. But I guess goats hate grass. All right, this is, I call it dog pen wire or 2x4 wire. Everybody hates on it. I had to go from that tree there to here. I had a roll of this stuff. I used it. Honestly, it's not that bad. Just when you get the bush hog too close to it in the fall, this happens. But the sheep have not found the hole. I'm gonna patch it. I'm gonna take a piece of cattle panel and cut a square out and put it up there and tie it in. Which that's what I get back to, cattle panels and hog panels. You got a pair of bolt cutters, you can be MacGyver. But it's not that bad. And some people have used it for perimeter fencing. My mom raised chickens. You can run chickens in it. That's where I got a lot of it from, is when she quit raising chickens. I got all her fencing. So it works really well for the most part. It's just not gonna last as long as woven wire. Now they do make no climb fencing for horses, which has the same size, 2 inches by 4 inches, but it's actually woven just like the American wire or the woven wire up by the road. So you can get that. I like it because ain't no predators creeping in those tiny holes. They make some for sheep that has 4 inch by 4 inch holes, so it'd be this right here. So lambs can't get out, predators can't get in, sheep and goats won't get their heads stuck through it. Because if a goat gets their head stuck in, then I guess they don't know that they can push it on through, bend the horns back, and then go in. You usually wind up cutting them out or fighting them to get their head back out. Oh, the goats found the hole. I'll show you, we had some old woven wire from when I was back in the day when we farmed that was up, and it was enough to keep cows in, even though it was old and rusty, but it wouldn't keep sheep in. And sheep are not that hard to keep in if you got something for them to eat. Usually if they run out of stuff that they like to eat, then they'll try to go out a hole or under a fence. Generally they won't go under a fence if it's low to the ground, but if they see a little wash or something, they'll push their luck. With sheep, the big thing you got to worry about keeping stuff in is the dogs. The dogs will want to get out at night. When they see a coyote in the next field over, they're going to want to go after it. They see deer over there, they're going to want to go after it. So anyway, this is the nice thing. If you've got lots of money, if you got money to spend, we did it up here on this section next to the road. It was woven wire. It was old when I was a kid. So we came through here with cattle panels and we just put them up. Just right over it, use the existing fence post, wire them up. Hey, it ain't pretty, but guess what? It works. And this is what I want to show you, where that 2x4 welded wire, because I had about 1,000 foot of this I had to do, maybe 1,200. So what I did was, I went and got some of the 3 foot tall 2x4 wire, and I just put it over this woven wire fence. I just put it up there with woven wire clips. So it ain't pretty. It ain't gonna last forever. And eventually we'll probably run it replacing this fence. But it's dependable, reliable, it keeps the dogs in. And I've gone all the way down with it. I got another fence in another field where even though it was old, the wire was good, it was still tight, but it was about a foot off the ground. So I bought some 3-foot rolls of this stuff because it's like 59, it was on sale for 59 bucks. I took a cutting torch to it and cut it in half, and then I unrolled them. And so I roughly had 18 inches, and I attached them to the fence post and filled in that 1-foot gap all the way down for about 700 feet. And it was cheaper than refencing. It was an answer to a question, and it worked out really good. And I haven't had any issues. So, you know, you can make it pretty, you can do it right, which all this is done right. It's just sometimes it's not as pretty, but I got it done quickly. I think putting up all that stuff took me about a day, and it cut me a couple afternoons on the other side where I used the 3-foot that I cut in half. So as long as it's sturdy, you'll be fine. You know, I wouldn't use the welded wire if I had 100 acres of fence. I wouldn't do that. But if I was patching, doing something like this, sure, why not? If I was gonna put up a fence, money's not an object, I'm gonna use cattle panels. They even have sheep and goat panels, which have 4-inch squares. And they have no-climb panels. The no-climb panels are $79. I priced them, they had some at Rural King. So basically 79 bucks plus 10 bucks for fence post to go 16 feet. They have sheep and goat panels. I think they're $49, 50 bucks at Rural King. So you put your two post in, 10 bucks for two, well, that's 60 bucks. Cattle panels, 25 bucks at Co-op, $20 Tractor Supply, $20 at Rural King. If you go to Co-op, I like Co-op stuff. Their cattle panels are a little thicker. They're not as light. They're a little heavier built, so even though the price is more, you're getting a better product or a sturdier product. Maybe it'll last longer. But if you tell Co-op what you're doing and you have the budget and you have all your money up front, you can go to Co-op and say, hey, I'm building this fence. I need these items, you know, what can you do? And they might cut you a deal. They will deliver. I ordered like 12 rolls of fencing when I fenced this other farm when I started, and like an insane amount of T-posts and corner posts, brace posts, wire, just like 4 pallets of stuff. It was extremely heavy. They brought out a wheel loader and with forks on it, and then came back with a gooseneck trailer and unloaded all this stuff for me. They will hook you up. I've talked to Tractor Supply. They really don't do stuff like that. Basically, they explained to me they are for a hobby farmer. You know, that's why their prices are feed and such things are usually not as cheap as they would be at Co-op or a feed store. They have great deals on fixing supplies and stuff like that, but you know, you got to go get them. I do think the T-posts are a little thicker at Co-op on this part, and this part here, they may have changed that over the years. I know they don't give you the bag of 25 clips like they used to for your woven wire, which those clips, they also work great on cattle panels for the post in the middle. They don't work so hot for your end pieces because they never line up where you can catch both of them just perfect. But if money's not an issue, won the lottery, I'm gonna use cattle panels or sheep panels or no-climb panels. If I don't win the lottery, I'm probably gonna use woven wire. I'd love to use sheep wire or no-climb wire, but you know, like I said, that stuff's so much more expensive. You can usually pick up a roll of American wire for 130 bucks, 120 bucks, something like that. But those are just some different types of fencing. I've never used barbed wire on sheep. We have some old barbed wire fences up here. Sheep go, I think the bottom row there's 3 or 4 strand sheep. They just go under them. But if I had them low enough, it would keep them out. I just don't want to deal with wool getting hung up on that. I've heard that it's a bad idea to do that with sheep because they just get stuck to it like Velcro, so I didn't do it. I try to listen to folks that have been doing sheeping longer than I have, so learn some stuff. You know, we're all never too old to learn. But those are just the different types of fencing that you're gonna see and that are available and you're gonna find here in West Tennessee. Like, I've never seen anybody have sheep behind a 3-rail wood fence or anything like that. I'm sure you could do it. I just don't like electric fences. I don't care for them. I like a nice solid fence. And so that's pretty much, this is a nice, I like this gate here. I bought these 2 gates. They're great because people can't just climb into your pastures, even though they can over there, but you know, it looks, I like it. Sheep can't get through it, lambs can't go through the holes in the bottom. That's the main reason I got it. And dogs, because we did have those 2 gates up here. So, you know, dogs, predators are gonna go in and out, lambs go in and out. But anyway, those are your main types of fencing you're gonna find. If you like, just like it. If you like it, put your comments below if you got them or questions. Like, subscribe, and we'll get to our next video here sometime in the very near future. Thanks.